Hello. For this week's discussion, I will be discussing the rest of what we read for V for Vendetta. For the first question, which is, would you describe the theme in the novel as anarchy or anti-fascism? Support your answer. Throughout the beginning to middle of the story, anti-fascism for sure seems like the clear answer, with there being a man on a mission against a shady and morally corrupt government. However, V's actions seem to lean heavily towards that of anarchy, such as his announcement to the city after blowing up part of the tower, telling the citizens that for 3 days they are essentially free to do as they like with no repercussions. I was going to lean towards saying that the main theme of this story was anarchy, but after reading the information in the module, it was made very clear to me that that simply wasn't the case. This novel was written around the theme of anti-fascism with the guise of anarchy. When this novel was written, Thatcher and the Conservative Party seemed to be moving towards fascism, and this book was simply written to not only show the world how a fascist governmental system would affect the lives of its citizens, but also to show what would be necessary in order to escape the deadly grasp of such a governmental power. This novel shows that anarchic actions would need to be taken in order to prevail. Another reason one may consider this anti-fascist instead of pure anarchy is the fact that V raised Evie to be just like him, but more tamed and controlled, in order to show the people that violence and murder shouldn't become the norm, and for his ideals to live on within someone who is unwilling to kill. The second question is, analyze how the dichotomy of hero-villain using at least 2 specific examples from the book. There are many parts in the book where V heavily blurs the lines between being a hero and a villain. In one of my previous videos where I discussed the X-Men, I stated that a villain may have the same goal that a hero may have, but it's their way of achieving said goal that sometimes dehumanizes them and makes them evil. I feel as if that idea is really emphasized when it comes to V and his goal. Many can argue that his methods are vicious and evil, so that's what makes him an evil villain. And though they do seem to be that way, the question can be raised as to whether these actions were the only course of action that could have been taken in order to achieve his ultimate goal, which is to free the people from this tyrannical rule. For example, the scene in which V tortures Evie may seem evil and kind of scummy on the surface, but V felt there was no other way to get Evie to truly understand his perspective on why he does what he does. Through her, V's vision of freedom for the people of England can truly become a reality. Ultimately, it's left up to the reader to interpret whether this course of action really was necessary in order for his vision to carry on. While this act heavily leans him towards the side of being a villain, another point that can be made towards proving his villainy is the fact that he killed several dozen people in order to exact his revenge. While this act heavily leans him towards the side of being a villain, the reader can interpret it as taking out main players that could prevent his goal from coming to fruition. That is all. Thank you.